All right, Robert Haley, what happened to you?
Well, I was with a group of 6 other Navy education potential officers. We went into a cave in April of 1970. It's called Devil's Icebox. In order to get in, we had to use a rowboat and lay down, and it was a stream going in, and we had to propel ourselves into the cave for about a quarter of a mile by using our hands up against the ceiling of the entrance and propelling our way into this big cavern. While we were doing this, it started to rain real hard out. And it rained about 2 inches when we were in there. We got into this one cavern, which was about 1,000 square feet. We says we better get into something bigger because the water had started to rise.
Yeah,
and we were going through a passageway. We got into a small cavern about the size of a living room, say, and we got stuck there. And we had to tie our boat up against the stalactite coming down, and we waited for about 2 hours there as the water rose and it started covering us in the rowboat.
My God.
And we were about 3 foot from the ceiling, and the water was still rising.
Oh, my God.
Luckily, one of the guys had a flash, so we were, for an hour, we were just, we were calm, but what could we do? We couldn't get into the bigger cavern called the Cathedral, and so we waited, and luckily the water started to recede.
Wow.
We were able to get back into the cemetery cavern, what they call the cemetery, and we waited there for about 12 hours to find the entrance. We kept going in the rowboat looking for the entrance, but of course it was covered. It was you couldn't see it because the water had risen so high.
Wow.
And we finally at about 11 o'clock that night we saw the entrance. We found the entrance. Like I said, we kept pulling back, and we were confused. We couldn't, where it was. And finally, we found it. We were able to propel ourselves out in the rowboat by laying down and using our hands against the ceiling. And there outside was a group of firemen ready to come in to rescue us because we had written down our names as going into the cave that morning.
Yeah, because I'm looking at this now, and I just searched Devil's Icebox on Google, and it's actually in the Missouri State Park. So, if you go up to Bald Mountain and you sign your name, and then you sign out when you get in. So they must have known, oh my gosh, it's the flood conditions are getting bad, and they went and looked, and thank goodness they were ready to help you.
Well, really, thank God the water stopped. It stopped raining.
Stopped raining.
Because you guys you wouldn't have made it.
What happened, Bill, was it was April 1st. This is not a joke, but it was April 1st, and the front went through, and it started to snow. And that's why when we got out, there was like 2 or 3 inches of snow on the ground, and that's really what saved us.
Right, it turned to snow. Wow.
Did you say you had one of your friends had a flask?
Yeah, he had a flask. We didn't have much food. We had miners' hats and everything.
Yeah.
But we didn't have much food. He had a flask, and we all were taking a sip.
Well, that's why you were confused. I mean, come on.
Well,
there wasn't that much. We were just saying, well, this is maybe the last, the one we ever have. I mean, it was that, you get to be 73 years old, and you look back on your life and say, this was a time when we shouldn't have. Somebody was on our right shoulder. Somebody was on our shoulder guiding us through.
Yeah, because the conditions change, something is different, and you don't make it out of there. I got to tell you, first of all, hearing you're in the room the size or a cave the size of a living room, and the water's coming up, and now you're up. You don't know that it's stopping. You don't know the rain's going to stop. The water's going to recede. I start to get uncomfortable. My claustrophobia begins to kick in. I don't think I could lay down in the rowboat and go underneath to get inside the cave in the first place.
Yeah.
So clearly you're not claustrophobic in any way.
No.
Yeah.
But over the years, I tended a lot to forget about it. And,
Yeah.
I just put it in the back of my mind. Evidently, these kids in Thailand aren't going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
They were in there for a long time.
Yeah. And, boy, that is just have you ever done, is this the most dangerous thing that you've ever done or dangerous predicament you've ever been in? Anything else?
No, Bill. A year before this, I was in Vietnam, and there was a few instances where, again, someone was on my right shoulder guiding me through it.
Wow.
Well, thank you for your service.
And I imagine that without that, this cave experience would have been probably even much more difficult. So, wow, what a story. And, Robert, I just want you to know I have chills right now, and you've caused that. So,
Bill, listening, I do a lot of bike riding in the morning, like for 3 or 4 hours. I listen to the talk shows. I like listening to your show. In Orlando, I listen to, of course, that's a lot bigger market.
Yep.
In Phoenix, I listen to the talk shows. They don't hold nothing over you.
Well, I appreciate that.
You really have a good setup and a very interesting show.
Well, Robert, you're my new favorite guy, so thanks so much. We appreciate it, and thanks for sharing your story.
Okay. Goodbye now.
Have a great weekend. How about that story? Isn't that something?
What an awesome guy. 3
hours
on a bike.
I have this, and it might have been the time that my brothers sat on top of the hamper. The old style hampers, and I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what it is, but that's my biggest fear in a car accident or something where you're trapped. But to willingly go in like he went in, and then to hear that he was in Vietnam, and you can only imagine what he went through there. Wow.